Hey guys, Joe Zieja here. I know it's kind of an awkward time right now with the pandemic and all that, and first of all, I wanted to say that I hope you and your loved ones are staying safe and healthy. But one of the things that we're all missing right now is the convention scene. I know that video game and anime fans, we love conventions. We love getting out there with all our fellow nerds, dressing up in cosplay, and just celebrating these stories that we've all kind of grown up with or grown into as they've come out over the years. And so one of the things that I wanted to do is kind of bring the con experience to you guys a little bit. One of the ways I'm doing that is through signed prints that you can actually get through Zobi. Check out the video description below. There'll be a link to Zobi there for you where you can order a signed print from me. And there are 4 of them right now. You can get Claude, you can get Claude cosplay, you can get Gavin from Mr. Love Queen's Choice, and you can get Fox McCloud. But the second thing I wanted to do is answer your questions. A lot of times, you know, people come to conventions to get some FaceTime with voice actors. And in order to try to provide that, I put out a call on social media that I will answer any question you ask me, drop it into a video, and then send it to you so we can bring back just a little bit of the convention experience. So that's what I'm gonna be doing now. There'll be a couple of these videos since I got a lot of questions. I'm gonna do my best to get through all of them. Some of them were duplicates, so if your question got answered or asked by somebody else, you might not see your name attached to it. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get through all of them as quickly as I can while still making sure that I give each of them a little bit of time. So let's dive into it. All right, first up, Stokes2K8 asks me, so I need to know, what the hell is a Hufflepuff? A Hufflepuff is basically a marshmallow that makes you sneeze. Geb Heart Attack asks, could God microwave a burrito so hot that even he couldn't eat it? First of all, marrying into a Mexican family, you don't microwave burritos. You gotta put the tortilla on the pan, you gotta put butter on it. I think God wouldn't microwave a burrito. Bobatori asks, if there were any game that you haven't played in a long time that you'd be interested in returning to, what would it be? That's interesting. I actually have a lot of games that I return to all the time. Just about every 5 years or so, I'll go and I'll play Final Fantasies, pretty much starting at 4. I'll play 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And those are like the core of the Final Fantasy games that I return to all the time. I actually just got finished replaying Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions, and it's an awesome game. You can't go wrong with it. And then I'll go back and play Xenogears every once in a while as well. The problem with replaying old games is that there's so much new great content out there that if it doesn't really have a big childhood hook for me, I probably wouldn't go back and play it again. So there's that. Reese Bridger asks, where to hide dead body? Don't do that. Call the police and tell them what you've done. Come on. Roger Craig Smith, who some of you know voiced Sonic the Hedgehog and Ezio from Assassin's Creed, among many other roles, asks, where do puppies come from? Well, Roger, you need to call the puppy Stork. There is the human Stork, and then there is the puppy Stork. People get them confused all the time. Please don't think you're ordering a puppy and all of a sudden, boom, you're a father. Just be really, really careful, okay? The numbers are only off by 1 digit. Bittersweet Victory asks, are you the Joe Zieja credited in Garugula Salad, Reel 'Em In Boys, and On the Chapel's Back Porch? All of these songs are from Materia Collective albums. Materia Collective is a collective of people that remix video game music. And yes, indeed, those are my songs. You can actually, I think, find them on Spotify. I've been a video game remixer probably since around 2013. I'm still on staff for Overclocked Remix. Some of those people are my very best friends in the world. So if you're a nerd and you like video game music, you should check out both Materia Collective and Overclocked Remix. Amy Lee Chan asks, what's something on your bucket list that you've always wanted to do? You know, the thing about my bucket list is I generally try not to keep it in the bucket. I know that's not the bucket we're talking about, but if I think of something I want to do, I generally try to move towards doing it as quickly as I can. So I don't know that I have a whole lot of things on my bucket list. I try to make every day kind of a bucket list. So yeah, I don't think I really have anything that I'm like, when I'm 60, I want to go do X, Y, and Z. I'm too impatient for a bucket list, to be honest. Bill Russell asks, Facebook is to Sunday morning as karaoke is to blank. I don't know. The internet? Heavy Chord asks, what would be your dream character to voice? I get this question a lot, and you know, it's really difficult to answer because there's no one character that I'm really excited about voicing. I've gotten to do some really amazing things in my time as a voice actor. I've been very lucky with folks like Fox McCloud and getting to voice Achilles and Claude and all these folks. So I don't know that I have a dream character. I would love to be part of the main cast in a Persona game or a Final Fantasy game, and I would love to be in the main cast for like a major Naughty Dog original IP. I love the way that Naughty Dog crafts and tells stories. I think they've really got something amazing going on, and I'd love to be part of something like that. Ike Solid asks, what's your favorite anime? That's tough. I'd say it's probably a toss-up between Death Note and Trigun. I love those animes a whole lot, but there's a lot of anime that I really like that, you know, maybe just not quite favorite tier. So I'm saying probably if I had a gun to my head, I might pick Death Note, but I might pick Trigun. I don't know, one of those two. Chaz the Quangshi asks, what sort of questions do you hope people will ask? That one. Golden Fanfare asks a very important question. Pop-Tarts, fresh out of the wrapper or toasted? You know, there are some times where you just don't have the time to toast a Pop-Tart and you need it right now. So under the burden of necessity, I'd say that, you know, right out of the wrapper is okay, but a true Pop-Tart needs to pop out of the toaster. ASO3 asks, are you a fan of the Rocky series? And if so, what's your favorite movie? You know, I was a fan of the Rocky series when I was a kid. I don't know that I've watched them recently, and I haven't watched any of the more recent things like Creed or Balboa. But the one that I think I saw first was Rocky IV with him and Drago, the Russian. And that I think became my favorite just because it's the one I saw first. So yeah, we'll go with Rocky IV. If he dies, he dies. Aaron Daniel Norman asks, if someone didn't get into acting until they were 25 and now has taken a few classes in community theater, how would you give them advice to break into the industry? I am the wrong person to ask because I didn't start acting until I was 29, 28. And I haven't taken any classes with the exception of a couple of workshops here and there. So the way I did it was just a brute force approach. I went and I auditioned for absolutely everything I could find. Didn't matter if it really fit me. It didn't matter where it was. At the beginning, it didn't really matter how much it paid. I just wanted to get out there and sink my teeth into stuff. So do it more, I think is what I'm saying. And don't let the idea that you weren't built up in some kind of theater pedigree where you went, you know, you have your masters of fine arts in stage acting. Don't let that hobble you, because it really hasn't done anything for me. So, you know, there are lots of ways, there are lots of paths to success in acting. And I haven't met anybody with my path, and I have met many people whose paths are also unique. Sarah Falla asks, what was your first experience as a voice actor and what was it like? And what was the character? My first experience as a voice actor was weirdly the first job I ever auditioned for. It was a cartoon panda speaking Arabic to children. I knew some Arabic from my military and college education, and I had some recording equipment from my music remixing hobby, so I kind of had an idea of how to put it all together and make something sound good. And you know, it was a pretty unique opportunity. There weren't many people that were going to talk in Arabic and like, you know, be like, you know, tahniya, mumtaz, all that stuff. And I think that was pretty much the voice I used. So yeah, my first gig was a cartoon panda speaking Arabic who I think was named Pandy. I don't know if the app, I'm sure the app isn't out there anymore. This is like 2013. So yeah, that was it. Ristriel asks, how are you? I'm fine, how are you? Comic Cloud asks, Kaizo Mario or Battletoads? Battletoads. Bandit Jeremy asks if I know Cassandra Lee Morris and Jeremy Lee and if it's possible to collaborate with other voice actors. I mean, I do all the time. I do know them. Not super well, but we've met a couple of times each, I think. And, you know, it's always fun to play. Actors are all about playing, and it's really fun to get to play together. So whenever I have a chance, I do love to have folks on my stream. We've had Joe Brogy and Allegra Clark, and we've had Mark Witten all on the stream just to hang out, and we always have a good time. So yeah, I love collaborating with other actors. I love collaborating with people who aren't actors. It's really great to see people from all different walks of life and all get to play together. Jacob Velli asks if you had to pick one line of dialogue that you've spoken as a voice actor, what would be your favorite? My favorite line, I think, still to this day, is from Just Cause 4. I played a character named Cesar, who is a wild conspiracy theorist. And at the end of it, now, if you haven't played Just Cause 4, I'm about to spoil a little bit of what's going on, so, you know, spoiler alert. At the end of his arc, when Cesar finds out that the things he thought were aliens are not actually aliens, he is about to blow up some kind of base or depot. And before he hits the destruct button, he yells, "Take that, you not alien motherfuckers!" And that's probably one of my favorite lines I've gotten to say in voiceover. Gabby Palmer says that she's graduating high school in a little bit and wants to know what to do, doesn't know what to do, is thinking about pursuing acting and wants to know about my experiences. I've talked about them a little bit already in the video. My experiences have been really random. You know, I didn't start out as an actor. I'm not a classically trained actor. I'm an ex-military officer who then worked for the government who stumbled into acting. So, you know, in my life, and I know this isn't in everybody's life, so I don't know how good of a piece of advice this is, it's to just kind of like be aware of what the universe is trying to tell you to do and be ready to change on a dime. Be ready to go with the flow. Because if there's one thing I've learned in my life, it's that I don't really know what's coming next. And I have to be open to different ideas, some things that I never thought would happen. So I guess my advice to you is be open. And when the universe isn't whispering in your ear, pursue your passion as much as you can, but try to pay the bills. Siplic Azure Moon asks, is there a game that doesn't have voice acting that you think would be improved if it had it? This is a touchy subject for me. The times where acting has been added to games like that are remade or like updated and voice acting has been injected into them, sometimes it ruins the nostalgia for me because I had a way that I was hearing those voices in my head when I was playing those games. I don't want somebody else sort of like imposing that on my nostalgia. That's obviously very specific to old games. I think, gosh, I don't know. I think most of the time it's a good artistic decision to not have voice acting if that's what you think the narrative does. I can't think of any game that would be improved with voice acting. The only thing that pops into my head might be Pokemon Sword and Shield. Because those characters were so dynamic and weird and wild, it might have been fun to hear some really interesting interpretations on the Pokemon Sword and Shield voices. But for the most part, I'd say let it go. Alexa, set the upstairs temperature to 78. Shaky Ray Dunn says that they want to ask a writing question. Do I have any more book series planned? And if my books were to be made into some kind of animated or film adaptation, who would I want to play the lead? I always thought, so the only series I've published is the Mechanical Failure, or the Epic Failure trilogy, which is Mechanical Failure, Communication Failure, and System Failure. And I think I would love to see like Chris Pratt, but I want to see like Chris Pratt from like Parks and Rec play Rogers, the lead. That would be really cool. As far as do I have any other book series planned? As of right now, I don't. I'm always open to new ideas and new experiences, but right now I have other focuses. So that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. You know, ideas come and go. Every once in a while, I'll kind of be like, ooh, I think I'd like to write that. But most of the time, I just kind of file that away in like an idea bucket, and then you know, later on, I might go back and pick something up. So, yeah, right now, writing isn't so much on the table for me, but that doesn't mean it's off the table for the rest of my life for sure. AK asks, what were some of my favorite support conversations to watch in Fire Emblem Three Houses, and what were some support conversations that didn't happen that I would have liked to see happen? I would have liked to see Claude and Sedith. I really would have liked to see some of the house leaders like couldn't have conversations with each other. I would have really liked to see those interactions between like Claude and Dimitri, or Edelgard and Claude. Those would have been really cool conversations to develop. As far as my favorites, I love Hilda and Sedith's conversations because like it's just funny seeing Hilda squirm under Sedith's imperial gaze. And I really like Claude and Lysithia's as well. I really like those conversations. Jessica asks, how did I hear about Mr. Love, Queen's Choice, and what made me decide to go for the role of Gavin? Honestly, most of the time with acting, you don't hear about a role and then go after it. Someone just hands you a piece of copy and they're like, hey, can you read for this? And that's it. And that's kind of the way it went with Mr. Love. I had no idea what I was auditioning for. The studio sent me some copy. I don't even know, I might have read for more than one of the characters. But you know, it's just like pretty much any other game. They send you a piece of copy, you go, all right, I think this character does this, and then they either tell you that you booked it or they move on to somebody else. So I don't really have too much of an interesting origin story for Mr. Love, sorry. Banana Soul asks, if I could voice any character in Smash Brothers, who would it be and why? I don't really know. You know, when you're voicing a fighting game, especially when there's no dialogue, you know, you'll go in for like a couple hours and make some noises and leave. So fighting games aren't like super exciting to voice, but I would want to voice somebody in Smash. It was like a little ridiculous, like Ness. I always thought I did a good like Ness impression, so it would be kind of fun to just go in there and be like, PK Fire! You know, like all that stuff. I don't know. Yeah, we'll go with Ness. Adriel Varlak asks, what was the hardest obstacle you ever had to overcome in voice acting? Honestly, now the way I set it, there's a little backstory here. The way I set up my career, I had a home studio and I did a lot of corporate work. I did a lot of commercial work when I was living in Virginia. And then like it was good. I had a very stable career, and one of the hardest things I had to do in acting didn't have so much to do with acting, but it had to do with like sort of porting that personality over to Los Angeles, where I came to hunt things like games and anime, animation, that kind of stuff. And I was moving like full speed like a freight train in Virginia, picking up clients and moving and shaking. LA is a slower pace, and it took some time for me to develop the patience to learn how to build relationships, learn how to find my champions. Because it's important as an actor to not just be good, but you have to find people that believe in you as well. And finding the right people to believe in me, who would support my career, who understood what my vision was and wanted to work with me on it, so that we could form a symbiotic relationship where I was solving their casting problems and they were solving my I'd like to work and stuff problems. So the patience and the patience to come up with those relationships and understand that like it's not going to happen overnight, and that there's a method to the madness, and you got to kind of let it happen. That was probably my biggest challenge as a voice actor, and still is. I'm still always hunting for different roles and wanting to meet different people, and I have to remind myself a lot that I haven't been here that long. I haven't even been in Los Angeles for 5 years yet, and I've got to be patient, and I gotta pay my dues. And the last one we'll do for this video is from Glorious Arcadum, who asks, how much are you loving the D&D game we're in? If you haven't seen our D&D game, it is hysterical. We do it on Sunday nights at 7 o'clock Pacific on Arcadum's channel. He is a brilliant DM, and I am so happy. I'm not really like a streamer, right? I'm a voice actor who kind of streams, and I ended up going to TwitchCon, meeting a bunch of cool people, Arcadum included, and it was really awesome to be invited into this group to experience D&D in a way that I hadn't before. I really hadn't played that much, certainly not consistently, and being under the guiding hand of an excellent DM really changed the experience, and that's friggin' awesome. Duh. Go watch it. Okay guys, that is it for this Q&A video. I will be doing more as I kind of like sort through some of the questions. Again, this is me bringing the convention experience to you. So if you have questions that you want to see in a future video, please feel free to reach out. If you're looking for the signed print experience, check out the link in the description below for a link to Zobi, where you can get a signed print from me, one of 4 prints that are up there right now. We'll probably cycle them out after a little while, but right now, getting in there and grabbing one of the 4 prints on Zobi is a great way to complete a little bit of the other side of the con experience. Thank you guys so much for your questions. Thank you guys so much for your support as actors, and we do this for you guys. We tell these stories so that people can listen. So I'm really glad that you all are listening to the stories that I have to tell. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.